What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel, and here's my review of Paramount Plus new movie Apartment 7A. Let's rock this. Now, you all remember the classic horror film Rosemary's Baby, right? Come on, any of us who claim to be horror fans should already have seen that one by now. Otherwise, I'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you missing out on it? Anyway, Apartment 7A is the prequel to Rosemary's Baby. How so, Rama? Well, I'll tell you. Do you remember that girl whom Rosemary and Guy first met at that Bramford building? The girl that actress Angela Dorian played? Well, that's the same character that Julia Garner plays in this prequel, Terry Gionoffrio. And that's not a spoiler, by the way, which means if you have already watched Rosemary's Baby, then you already know what ultimately happens to Terry at the end. And that goes to the point that I'm about to make. Back when I watched Rosemary's Baby, I wasn't going, I wonder what brought Terry to that apartment. I wish somebody would create her backstory. No. And maybe I'm alone on that, but after having watched this entire film, my opinion stands in that I find this prequel to be banal and unnecessary. Written by Skylar James and directed by Natalie Erica James, in Apartment 7A, an ambitious young dancer, Terry Gionoffrio, dreams of fame and fortune in New York City. But after suffering a devastating injury, an older wealthy couple welcomes her into their home in the luxury apartment building, the Bramford. When fellow resident and influential Broadway producer offers her another chance at fame, it seems that all her dreams are finally coming true. However, after an evening she can't fully remember, disturbing circumstances soon have her second-guessing the sacrifices she's willing to make for her career as she realizes that something evil is living not only in Apartment 7A, but in the Bramford itself. Starring Julia Garner, Diane Weiss, Kevin McNally, Marley Sue, and Jim Sturgis. Credit where credit is due, because of course we have to give people their flowers when they deserve it. Director Natalie Erica James and her team did a pretty solid job of replicating the Bramford. It's as if the exterior-interior sets were frozen in time, and suddenly you're back again in that rent-controlled 4-room old Central Park West building. The problem that I have with this movie is that it doesn't go far enough in terms of the scares. It lacks imagination, it lacks creativity. Oftentimes the imagery are silly and laughable, and they just recycle what was already done before, but in a quality that looks like they were just video recording a stage play. And it seems like it's just an excuse for the filmmakers to do their own musical number, which I admit, some of those sequences are visually interesting to say the least, but they are hardly cinematic. I guess if you are fans of the Rosemary's Baby franchise, you would geek out at the sight of the necklace again, and other items and references from the original film that this prequel brings up. But throwing nostalgia at the wall, hoping they would stick, can only go so far until you find yourself asking, is that all you've got? Thankfully, the pacing is pretty good, and they didn't do all kinds of wasted fillers just to stretch the runtime, and Julia and Diane's performances are what actually carry this film. Diane's version of Minnie Castevet is brilliant. Her voice pitch sounds higher than the late great Ruth Gordon, who played that character in the original film, but Diane nails it in terms of balancing between being nosy, being pushy, and being charming all at the same time. It's both funny and creepy, and Julia is so mesmerizing and so committed. Terry is a dancer with big dreams and equally big misfortune. And so Julia captures all those pain and fright and panic and confusion perfectly, with all the required nuances that come with it. So, in conclusion, Apartment 7A is a prequel that only makes sense to Rosemary's Baby fans, but it wouldn't do anything much for non-fans. The themes of invasion of privacy and the female body autonomy stay true to what this franchise has always been about, so it's spooky but not terrifying, unsettling but not scary, occasionally suspenseful but with a mediocre and anticlimactic payoff. And again, I still don't see why, or I still don't see the need for this prequel to exist, but it only proves that Guy and Rosemary's story remains far more interesting than Terry's. So yeah, overall I give Apartment 7A the rating of 2.5 out of 5. I guess the filmmakers involved with this project can pat themselves in the back for continuing a franchise that nobody wanted or asked for.